Welcome back, Skipper. You found our Captain's Notes, a series of training briefings built for you to sharpen your skills in World of Warships Legends. Today's mission, understanding your ship's secondary armament in close quarters combat, and mastering anti-aircraft warfare. Lock and load. Eyes on your ship. Up close, you'll see she's bristling with guns and barrels pointing every which way. You've got your main battery, the big guns you command directly, but that's only part of the arsenal, as most ships in Legends also carry two more gun types, secondary and anti-air guns, each with its own mission. Secondaries are your close quarters ship-to-ship weapons, ready to hose down enemies with shells the moment they come in range. Anti-air, or AA, is straightforward. Seaplanes, shoot planes. If enemy aircraft approach, your AA guns will light them up. Both secondaries and AA are run by the ship's AI, and they'll automatically engage the enemy. But stand at attention, sailor. To get the best results, you'll need to understand their mechanics. We'll make it easy to understand by simplifying some of them for you. Let's get started. First up, secondary guns. Almost every ship's got them, but make no mistake, battleships are the ones packing the heaviest secondary punch due to the sheer amount they carry. Secondaries are spread out in multiple mounts along your decks and superstructure, with calibers ranging from the small barrels you'll see on destroyers to cruiser-grade cannons that can shred anything dumb enough to get close. Their strength? Reload speed. Individual shells might not hit hard, but with a high rate of fire, damage stacks real fast once they start hitting. Keep them firing and the enemy will feel it. But listen up, these are close quarters tools. Compared to your main guns, they've got shorter range. And since you're not aiming these yourself, accuracy stays shaky. So the best tactic? Close the gap and keep them in your kill zone. At lower tiers, expect just 5 to 6 kilometers of secondary range. Climb the ranks and you'll get more. Some ships are even specialized in secondary warfare, each with a different taste. For example, German battleships and battle cruisers secondaries boast the longest firing range in the game, up to and even beyond 12 kilometers with enhancements, and their high-penetrating, high-explosive shells punch through armor with ease. Meanwhile, Italian tech tree battleships and some Italian cruisers throw out brutal, semi-armor piercing rounds that can wreck careless opponents. Check your specs tab to see more, as well as the kind of shells your secondaries are slinging. High explosive, semi-armor piercing? There's more on that in our previous Captain's Notes, where we broke down every shell type in the game. Study up! Now, how do secondaries work in battle, you ask? Well, good question, Skipper. Eyes on the target, and I'll show you. To start, secondaries share the same rules as your main guns when it comes to firing angles, so you'll need to maneuver to bring the most guns to bear. Here's the kicker though, each mount works on its own, meaning you can engage multiple targets at the same time. Enemies on both sides, fire on both sides. By default, secondaries prioritize smaller ships. Destroyers are great targets, but if you want to focus your secondary fire, aim at your mark, open the quick command menu, hit set target, and enjoy the fireworks. Any ship under sustained fire is in for a rough ride. Used right, secondary guns can help break open a flank, especially when the enhanced secondary targeting consumable comes into play. Activate it to spike your secondary gun's accuracy for a short duration. The rarer enhanced secondary targeting 2 even boosts reload time while active. Available on many battleships and even some cruisers, they're game changers when used in tough situations where an extra kick can make a difference. Want to push secondaries even further? 3 words: upgrades, modifications, commanders. Start by checking the hull. On many ships, upgrading it increases the number of secondary mounts, along with other boosts to survivability and handling. Next, slap on some modifications. In Slot 1, you'll find Secondary Battery Modification 2 for extra range and accuracy. Slot 4, available on Tier 7 ships and above, lets you equip the Secondary Battery Modification 3 for a faster reload. Upgrade it to Epic or Legendary for even nastier results in combat. These are the heavy lifters. Then there are your commanders. The right traits and skills will crank secondaries to their maximum. Faster reload, longer range, tighter accuracy, better penetration, heavier damage, even longer enhanced secondary targeting uptime, you name it! Study your roster and build smart to turn your ships into a floating wall of fire. Not like this. Like that! Next up, anti-air guns. You'll never see more barrels on a ship than right here. One mission: protect you and your allies from enemy aircraft. Every ship type has them. Destroyers carry a few, battleships and aircraft carriers are loaded with them, but cruisers bring the most efficient AA systems in the fleet. We'll explain why later. Think of AA as a defensive bubble around your ship. Anything that flies into it with hostile intent is going to meet a wall of lead. At lower tiers, that bubble starts tight, about 2 or 3 kilometers, but the aircraft you'll be facing are also made of wood and tarp. At high tier, the top AA systems can start slinging rounds beyond 7 kilometers, and some nations bring serious sky-clearing power. American, Dutch, and British cruisers are among the best, with certain ships designed almost entirely for air defense. Let's see how it works in battle. Any aircraft entering the range of AA guns start taking damage every second, and different AA gun calibers deal specific amounts of damage and have specific ranges. You can check this in the Specs tab. For example, Tier 7 Cleveland's 20mm AA guns hit for about 150 damage per second and start firing at aircraft 2 kilometers away, while her 127mm mounts spew 100 damage a second and engage at 5 kilometers. But that's just the warm-up. Your long-range, large-caliber AA mounts also fire flak bursts, explosions in the sky that'll tear squadrons apart if they fly through them. Smart pilots will try to dodge, but if they don't, they're scrap metal. During aerial attacks, enemy squadrons will often push through for a strike, so keep your eyes up and maneuver your ship to avoid damage. Turn toward torpedo bombers or skip bombers, shrink your profile to avoid being hit, and show your broadside to dive bombers to make those deck hits harder to land. While you evade, your AA will do its job, and that alone can make a carrier second-guess another run. AA is strongest in numbers, so stick with allies, overlap your fire, and watch the skies clear. If you become the enemy carrier's favorite target, activate the defensive AA fire consumable and triple your damage against enemy planes for a short duration, enough to send any squadron limping back to their mothership. You'll mostly see it on cruisers as an alternative to sonar, but some destroyers and battleships pack it too. Like secondaries, you can supercharge your AA. Upgrading your hull can add more mounts or bigger calibers, but modifications take it further. Equip AA Guns Modification 2 in the first slot for extra range, and AA Guns Modification 3 in the fourth slot for more damage and shorter consumable cooldowns. Perfect for keeping defensive AA fire ready to roll. Transform that last mod into an epic or legendary one for even better results. And don't forget your commanders, with their skills pushing your AA range and damage a nudge more. Stack all this together and you'll create a true no-fly zone around your ship. Tracking so far, Skipper? Good. Here's one more for the notebook. Some guns pull double duty. In other terms, they're dual purpose. On high-tier destroyers and light cruisers, your main guns also work as AA. And for heavy cruisers and battleships, your secondaries double as AA as well. That means a ship loaded with small-caliber main guns can be a nasty surprise for enemy aircraft, while battleships stay well protected simply by having a bunch of secondaries. Check the specs and get familiar with your ship's secondary and AA capabilities to know their strengths before the enemy tests them. As we like to say around here, knowledge is half the battle. That's a wrap, Skipper. Today we drilled into secondaries for close quarters brawling, AA guns for swatting aircraft, upgrades, modifications, commanders, and the edge of dual-purpose firepower. Master them, and you'll make any opponent think twice before getting in range, on the water or in the air. Grab that bonus code and get out there to put this new expertise to work. Or swing by our earlier captain's notes to sharpen every other skill in your arsenal. While you're at it, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified about the next video. Share what topics you'd like to see covered, and turn the tide.